In this video, I'll be playing through my game's demo in full to give you the initial experience. My hope is to get you to come download the free version of the game and let me know your thoughts about its direction. So, without further ado, let's head into the game. As you can see here, we're greeted with a little main menu screen that'll do a cool little fade out into the new game and all the other various option screens. Let's go ahead and hop straight into the game. And as you can see here, we're greeted with a little tutorial. So let's start off. You can pan the camera by moving the cursor to the edge of the screen or by using the arrow keys. Either one works, so let's go ahead and pan it a little bit. Kind of pan around a little bit. We can use the right mouse button to move. As you notice before you, there's a little blue outline around this unit. We don't need to worry about that right now, but going forward we'll be working with more than one unit. So let's go ahead and just follow the tutorial. Right click to move. Got a cool little arrow effect. So the spell book will contain some spells for this particular unit. Let's go ahead and open it. And with that opened, let's go ahead and just follow the little instructions. In the main tab, we can go to the Mystics, Disciple, and then General tab. As you can see here, we only have one spell available to us, and that's obviously the Mystic Bolt. Let's go ahead and drag it down to the hotbar. And we're about done with the spellbook for now. You can kind of check around some stuff if you'd like. You can look around. Most of this stuff is all locked currently, but going forward it might get unlocked. Let's see here. So let's exit out of the spellbook. From here, we can actually use the spell's hotkey to be able to cast the spell. Let's go ahead and do so. Got a cool little effect when it casts. So let me go ahead and click the mini-map so that we can view the main map viewer. So the main map viewer is going to be a zoomed out vision of the world. So as you can see here, we can still pan around, do all of our normal stuff, move, etc. As you can see here, there's a bunch of various buttons. Two new ones available to us. It looks like this little disciple looking icon. We can click it, and as you can see, we centered around our little unit here. And of course the home. Clicking that centers the camera around the home. So let's go ahead and get out of the main map viewer. And we can go ahead and pan over here, and we can use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. You can also use the plus and minus keys to be able to do this, but I'll go ahead and use the scroll wheel. And then we can use the bracket keys to rotate the camera. You can also use page up and page down depending on your preferences, but let's go ahead and we will rotate the camera a little bit. As you can see, the game features an autosave feature. You can turn this off in the settings menu. So if I were to open up the settings menu, go straight here, you can see that there's the autosave turned on currently, but we can turn that off later if we so choose to. But for now, here we are out in the world. So now that the game's totally opened up to us, we can kind of explore around a little bit. A lot of different things we can kind of move around and click on. As you saw previously when I was messing around, you can see that I can hover my mouse over my unit. Now I got a cool little tooltip on the bottom left. This just displays active stats of the unit and of course resistances. As you can see here, we have a 15% mystic resistance, but going further into the game, there is going to be a bunch of different resistances and ways to alter them. As you can see, we also see a live indication of our health and mana, and then some other various stats. Coming over here to the home, as you can see, we can hover over it. Get an interesting little yellow icon when we do. We can go ahead and click it, and it'll ask if you'd like to teleport all of your units home. If you press yes, everybody just teleports around there. Looking above the home, there's two special little buttons. If you remember from Fragment's Moonrise Classic, these are the Disciple and Magician icons. So let's go ahead and hover over one of them. You can see it says spawns a disciple, and it looks like it costs 10 supply. This little icon up in here. And clicking it currently just says not enough supply to spawn a disciple. So we can ignore that for now. And coming over here, a more interesting one. Allows disciples to advance to apprentices. This is the additional form of them. In Fragment's Moonrise Classic, they were called magicians. In this version of the game, they are now called apprentices. As you can see, it requires a tome of apprenticeship and a bunch of resources that we don't have any knowledge about currently, so clicking it does absolutely nothing, but says we're going to need some nature, water, and pages. So going forward, we only have essentially two buttons, movement and casting spells. So let's go ahead and try and cast a spell on this. So these kind of things look a little bit interesting. We could probably hover our mouse over and get more information. So over this green one, see it's an essence of nature, and it looks like it, upon defeated, gives us 5 nature. Hovering over here, this looks a little strange. This shrubbery looks like it can be easily destroyed, and as we can see, it only has 1 health. So let's go ahead and cast a spell on both of these things. And there goes the shrubbery, and we see that we've dealt some damage to the natures. Let's deal a little bit more damage. Let's go ahead and cast one more time, and it should kill it. Let's see, we got something back here as well to try and kill that. But you notice when we killed this, it gave us 5 of the little green resource, which, as we can tell from over here, this little green resource must obviously be nature. You can see we just need 95 more nature to be able to unlock apprentices. So throughout this demo, I'm going to be going through and getting all of the nature throughout the world. There is quite a lot of it, so don't fret if you skip over some of them, but you'll definitely be wanting to collect it so that you can unlock the apprentice in the future. As you can see, we have another over here. Let's go ahead and destroy it. And we get 5 additional nature. Let's go ahead and we can start to fight more stuff. In this case, we can attack this other nature. So let's go ahead and collect that. And continue onward. There's another one up here. So there's quite a lot of nature. I just wanted to make sure that it's fairly abundant, easy to find, versus the water, which we'll get into later. It's a little bit more rare to find. So heading up here, we're actually going to fight our first enemy. This is the Lesser Arcoil. As you can see here, he has one spell that's a dodge, and then another spell which he's casting fireballs at us. As you can see, he looks in the direction he's about to cast, and then he goes ahead and casts it. So let's go ahead and we can start to attack him. He's actually casting his teleport right now, but there he goes. So let's go ahead and deal some more damage. The easiest way to fight most enemies, you can kind of loop around them. So you'll have to cast and then click and then move. As you can see, we got hit there. It doesn't deal too much damage. As you notice, the health in this game is a physical number. So as you can see over here, 83, now 64, now 45% health. The Disciple has 100 health, but in general, when you have units with higher HP and when you start fighting other enemies with higher HP, the numbers will be different. So above the unit's health, you can just get a quick indication of how much health they have with a percentage, and then beyond that, you'll have to hover over them to be able to see their physical health left. So let's go ahead and we'll do one final cast, and we should be able to kill him. And he's dead. As you saw there, I actually was about to cast, and then I pressed escape. You can cancel your casts by doing that. It'll be more of an important skill later on, but for right now, not too necessary. As you can see, he's dead, throws on the ground, and we have one special element unlocked that we can go ahead and take a look at. If we go into the spellbook and then head under the Discovered tab, every time you kill something, it'll be unlocked here in the Discovered tab. So we can go ahead and click under a creature, and then we have a nice little exclamation point next to the Lesser Arcoil. Let's go ahead and click it, and we can read everything about them. So we get some description, we get all of their spells, all sorts of various elements about them, so you can read up on them for future encounters. And we of course get all of their spells, so fireball, dodge, etc. And this will be for when you defeat every enemy in the game. You'll get a entry about them, but not before. Alright, and as you can see here, there's the home right there. So this little pathway right here is just a little two-pronged pathway. Let's go ahead and move on, and we're forced to take a decision. So let's go ahead and either pick left or right. And there's some various stuff we can kill here too. We can hover over some stuff, see some plants. That's not coming into view yet, but we also have another enemy. Let's go ahead and engage them. As you can see, he hasn't engaged us yet. Oh, now here he comes. So another way to fight him is we can kind of bait him into attacking while we cast. There's a lot of various minor stuff in the game that I'll need to fix. Stuff like this unit getting caught on things. But for the most part, the main game's there, and I think I'm quite happy with it. But there's always room for improvement. So let's go ahead and kill this guy. He's dead. Let's kill him. And we can make our way back here, and we get a nature for a reward. Now that that's destroyed, let's go ahead and head up here. Some more various foliage to destroy. There we go. Oh, and then here we go. Our second group of enemies. These are 2 fire arcoils, so nothing too different from before. We got a nice open area to be able to fight them, so let's go ahead and engage them. Do some circling around. Just overall let them attack us in the manner we see fit, where we're trying to get them to fire at our last position while we move around them. Standing still is probably the biggest detriment in the game, so you will die very quickly if you just continue to stand still. So Let's see if I can lead him into that attack. Nope. No, I'll cast right here. I should be able to kill him after that. Alright, both of them are defeated. Let's go ahead and move on. So we got another decision to make. So you can see there's some nature over here. So as far as this playthrough goes, since it is a bit of a tutorial playthrough, I will be taking the intended route. However, you're free to take pretty much any route you like. Even this first level here is fairly open-ended. You can kind of do whatever you please. So let's go ahead, and I'm actually going to take this route. We'll ignore this one for now. Let's go on up here and see what there is. Oh, there's just an enemy up here. Oh, but over here is actually another one. Let's go ahead and retreat a little bit from that ambush. See if we can start to cast. And then when they start to attack, we just sort of run back and see if we can dodge their attacks. Fair warning, with how quick you can die in this game, I am probably anticipating at least a few deaths. Dying's not too big of a deal, though. In fact, I'll actually probably show it off here in a second. But let's get past these enemies first. Nice double kill. Alright, let's move on. As you can see, if I were to stop for a second, just kind of talk about the world. As you can kind of see here, we got tons of trees, tons of particle effects, lots of cool, interesting stuff. I really tried to put as much as I can into the game, and really trying to just take the most of the modern day hardware and make it look as beautiful as I'd like it to be. And moving forward, as you can see, oh, another set of 2 lesser arc oils. So fighting these enemies, you might notice that combat seems a little bit slow. This will be, of course, easily remedied going forward, but for the most part, I want the player to really experience movement and all the mechanics with regards to that. So, and also dying, of course. I want to make sure the player's used to understanding the mechanics of death and all that kind of stuff. So, this is an RTS after all. You are going to have more than one unit to control in the future, but for right now, just keeping things as simple as they can be. But let's head on up here. And let's go kill this arc oil before we take our rewards. Oh, I got caught on something. Nice, got the nature while trying to kill this guy. Big miss. As you can see, units will also attempt to move around every now and again. This is a little bit sporadic, but it just meant to have them dodge more than normal so that they're not just statically standing there and letting you kill them. Let's go ahead and destroy all of this nature. Let's kind of do some little cinematic shots here. And destroyed. So let's go ahead and we can start to move forward. As you see, there's some shrubbery up here. Let's go and walk towards it. Let's go ahead and destroy it. Uh-oh. So this is our second new enemy. This is the lesser Matosta. As you can see, he casts from quite a distance away. And his spells move actually pretty quickly. Let's see if we can go ahead and destroy this. And let's go ahead and fight him. So he's starting to glow blue, and as you can see, his mana seems pretty low. Oh, but he just deals a ton of damage. We were at about full health, and he did about 60% of our damage. But there's a little mechanic to him. So there is a trick to his fighting, and let's go ahead and reveal that in the spell book. Going back under the Discover tab under the creature. Here's the Lesser Matosta, and a bunch of various stuff to read about. However, if we go ahead and look at his Matosta Fireball, gives us a little bit of interesting information. However, if we read further, we notice that it has an area effect that also allows it to damage itself. So as we saw there, if we were too close to him, he went ahead and shot his fireball anyway, and we dodged it. However, he got hit by it, and he in turn killed himself with his own spell. So, nice little mechanic. I'll do little tiny mechanics like that around in the demo. This is also a big element to the player unit side of things, so eventually we're going to get more spells, and these spells are also going to be able to affect enemies, allies, in a scenario where you'd want to even dodge your own kind of spells. So coming up, we'll get a new spell called the Lesser Fireball, and this spell can actually harm your own units with it. So big mechanic to the game. Various enemies are going to feature this, but I want to have a lot of player units feature this as well, so I hope this is kind of showcased in the demo. Even the healing spells that the player can get can heal enemies, so a lot of cool stuff. And let's go ahead and move forward, and I actually wanted to show off that death mechanic, because as you can see here, we're starting to get into a different little area. The grass is starting to change, we're getting some raining effect. And if we come up here, oh, there's another enemy. Let's go ahead and let him kill us. And there we go. So we've been slain, and it says our home has conjured a new disciple for us. A nice little bit of flavor text here. However, what it's really saying is that we can go over here, click OK here. Then let's go ahead and click the mini-map, and using the expertise from before, we can actually click this little home and take ourselves back here. So now we're already back here, and as you can see, there's a new little disciple for us. We don't need to summon a new one. So let's go ahead and make our way forward, but let's actually go down the other pathway. I'll meet you guys there. Alright, so we're back here again. As you saw before, we went up this path. Now let's go up this path and see what it has. As you can see, we're greeted with a whole mess of lesser arc oils. Yes, I just put a bunch of them in here. Figured this would be a nice little challenge because coming up real soon is going to be our first boss. Let's go ahead and defeat these guys real quick. They're actually kind of fun to defeat because they all group up and you have an AoE spell, so you can kind of start to burst them down pretty quickly. So just kind of, I like to do like a little arcing motion so that they all start to engage and shoot spells at me, but don't move too far. That one in the back got a little bit stuck, but that's alright. We'll take them down later. So with these guys, if we're in a big enough area, we can actually just swoop around them too and do the same strategy as before. Which is pretty fun, just going in here and just mowing them all down. And through dodging, these enemies are pretty much no match for us. But as you can see, let's if I were to stand still for a second here, let's see how quickly you can start to kill us. 60, 40, oh, and then he wanted to go teleport. So in a few hits, we're already dead, so gotta be very careful. But he's dead in one single hit, so... And there he goes. Alright, that's all 5 of them defeated. We can kind of start to make our way up here. We've got a lot of stuff blocking our path that we can destroy, and as we saw over here, we can just walk on over here. There's that pathway before, so this also leads around, so if you wanted to take this pathway and go up through here, you can, or if you want to go back through here, you most certainly can as well. I'm going to leave that, and let's go ahead and move over here. So there's all of this nature. Let's go ahead and destroy it so we can forge our way forward. And all destroyed. So heading on up here, we are going to fight the first mini-boss of the game, Mataush the Fire Arc Oil. He cast a little spell and went straight towards us, and he has this arcing fireball attack. So let's go ahead and start to engage him. So these arcing fireballs are exactly what you'd expect. They're just 3 fireballs of the regular attack, and we saw how much damage the regular fireball was doing just a second ago. These will kill us very quickly, especially if we are close to them. But so far so good. Just need to pay attention to where he's looking and where he's casting his spell. I'll cancel that spell right there. So spell cast canceling is also pretty important because these guys are just gonna kind of keep moving around. Also, what you saw there, he was facing this direction, but I was moved over here, and at the very end he updated to my location. So some spells of the enemy are gonna auto-update to where you currently are, and some are gonna pick the location as soon as it gets cast. As you can see, same thing here. So get him kind of low. The main part is not getting stuck on his body. He's pretty big, especially compared to all the other enemies. So this big long fight's really just meant to teach the player about the mechanics of the game, and also to really hone in the fact that you need to dodge around. So another main mechanic of the game I'm going to show off right now is the fact that he's at 52% HP. Let's go ahead and die. Alright, let's go ahead and let's head back to the home. You can actually press the M key as the hotkey to quickly open up the map. So let's go back here. Here's our unit. Let's go run back. Let's go see what happens. So we're making our way back, and let's see his health when we get back to him. Oh, he's still at 52% health. So as part of the mini-bosses in the world, they do not update if you were to die to them. They're essentially a safe death in a sense, at least as far as the demo is concerned. Dying to them does not reset your progress like it would be in a lot of other games. This one, I just wanted to keep it a little bit on the learning side. I want it to be forgiving, but still very difficult, as brutal of a game as I can make, but still making it fun and accessible and not too ridiculously punishing, especially to brand new players who are still getting used to the game's mechanics. Going forward, however, all of the bosses are going to be featuring a reset mechanic, so you have to defeat them in one go, or you'll have to reset the entire boss. But for these more fun bosses, like the mini bosses, I just want to keep them casual and I want to keep them enjoyable. So he's getting under 25% HP, and looking here, he actually starts to cast a lot faster now. As you can see, he's really just laying down all the fireballs. So his improved casting right here is actually a mechanic called Desperation. Some of the bosses are going to feature this, and they're just going to start to cast a lot faster as a result when they reach a certain HP threshold or certain other criteria. Oh, he's attacking real fast, and I'm at super low health, so let's see if I can clutch this out. Yeah, not too difficult. And as you see before you, we do have a new spell, so you can actually hover over your spells like you hover over enemies. And we'll see that we now have the Lesser Fireball spell. This is one of the spells from before, so if I open up the spell book and a Disciple, this one's no longer a question mark. It is now a Lesser Fireball that has been unlocked. And speaking about from before, I scroll down here, as you can see, it affects everything. So enemies, allies, and yourself. So we can indeed hurt ourselves with our own spell. Took about 10% of my health, so about 10 HP. Technically 14 damage. We also see a new thing that just popped up for us. This little icon right here. It kind of looks like the home, and it functions quite similar. So you can go ahead and click it, and you say, would you like to teleport all of your units to the Mataush, the Fire Arc waypoint? Press yes, and we're teleported right there. In addition, if you were to open up the map, let's see that there's a new little icon right here, and you can click this, and it'll jump the camera right there. So just a little bit of utility for moving around the map quicker. Otherwise, moving around the map would take quite a bit of time, especially for each death, and I think that gets a little bit redundant. So, with our new spell in hand, let's actually go ahead and take on this blue area right here. Making my way over here. So the original Mystic Bolt spell deals 5 damage, and it is of element Mystic. This one deals 14 damage, and is of element Fire. So resistance are going to come into play, especially in the demo. We'll see that going forward. However, for now, let's go ahead and see what it can do. So if I were to just cast this normal Mystic Bolt, you kind of see some of these. We've got dense shrubbery. They're all kind of damaged a little bit. But let's go ahead and cast the Fireball. And it just takes them all out much quicker. So let's go ahead and go on up here. And there's one of these Essences of Nature. Let's go ahead and see how quickly we can destroy it now. So dead in 2 hits. Pretty cool. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and enter into the next area of the game. This is the Matosta Lair. So let's go ahead and head in there. As we saw before, there's a bunch of foliage around us that'll kind of block our path. So let's go ahead and kind of destroy it a little bit too. And let's also test out our new spell on this guy. I'm going to try and avoid the little trick to killing these enemies quickly, just for the demo, but that's just a secret between both of us. Normally fighting them, they're very quick to cast, so you gotta kind of keep moving. And one more hit should do it. This Lesser Fireball works a lot better than the Mystic Bolt. If I were to show off the Mystic Bolt here, let's go ahead and cast it. Doesn't deal too much damage, especially if they're moving around. But it does deal enough damage. It's good for when you're low on mana, but for the most part, I said I didn't want to do that, but then I ended up accidentally doing it. The Lesser Fireball takes up a considerable amount of mana, especially considering the fact that our mana regen is only 1. So Burning through it would be pretty bad, but the Mystic Bolt at least is very mana efficient, so we don't need to worry too much. Just cleaning up the rest of this nature. Let's go ahead and head out. There's a giant rock in our way. However, we can just go ahead and walk around it. And listen carefully. Some interesting little jingle, and this black dot, and then a bunch of fireballs laying on top of her head. So this is the next boss of the demo. This is going to be Matosta Surras, and as you can see, he is engaging us while we are fighting our way through. So whichever path we decide to take, we'll be having to deal with Surras the entire time, and all of his fireballs, and remembering to dodge them. So there's two little paths you can go up. This one is the more barricaded one where you're fighting Matostas, and this one is the one where you're fighting just tons of enemies. Let's go ahead and... I feel like we've been fighting tons of groups of enemies recently, so let's go ahead and go up this path, and I'll leave that path for you guys to explore. Heading on up here. Let's go ahead and just start casting. So dragging these Matostas out to us might be a bit of a good thing, but not if you get caught on stuff. So you really need to pay attention to your unit's movement. One of the things about the Lesser Fireball that'll become very apparent as soon as you start using it is the fact that the Mystic Bolt has this very long range, as you can see by the purple arrow on the ground. Let's go ahead and recover from this real quick. We can do that actually fairly quickly by just waiting for us to get out of combat. And yeah, so let's go ahead and make our way back. So as I was saying, on our way back, the Mystic Bolt has a fairly long range, as you can see. On the ground, you can see a little yellow arrow, or a yellow line. And moving it on a little bit closer, as soon as it's in range, you get a little purple indicator, and so you know you can cast it. The same thing goes with the Lesser Fireball, so let's go ahead and switch to that spell. A little bit bigger AoE, but as you can see here, we gotta get pretty close to be able to cast it. Almost in a range where you start to cast it, and then you will accidentally end up hitting your units, so something to be aware of, but also something that's teaching the player that if they get too close to the spell, they're going to damage themselves with it. And we're already back. Let's go ahead and defeat him real quick. So this is why I waited to take on the Matosta Lair, because there's just so many Matostas, and they all have tons of health, and with this Lesser Fireball, we just take them down so much more quickly than with the regular Mystic Bolt. As you can see, it's already dead. So let's go ahead and make our way forward. And there's some more of them. Let's go ahead and get in, cast, and then quickly run away because those fireballs are raining down on us. So you gotta kind of be a little bit patient when going up this path, since it's just a little linear path. You don't want to get rained down on. You always want to have a bit of an escape route. I should also mention that these fireballs are no joke. They will deal tons of damage, and also what you just heard right there, the little shing sound, that means that your spell couldn't be cast. So if I were to cast this again, and I think I should be out of ammo, or mana again. Nope, not yet. Almost. Oh, getting caught on stuff. I still got a pretty good amount of mana, but if you hear this little shing sound effect, sorry, that just an indication to you that your unit could not cast for whatever reason. Usually it's mana related, so let's go ahead and keep making our way through. We got one more enemy to fight, possibly. Oh, actually, turns out that there's a secret enemy back there that you can kind of ignore if you'd like, so we'll show that off in a little bit. Seems safer to just make my way entirely out of here and then make my way all the way back. They have super long range, so just gotta kind of make the best of what you can do. If I were to get hit by both of those fireballs at the same time, I will of course be dead, so movement is your friend. Also, as you can tell, Surras is unrelenting. He essentially has unlimited mana, so he will never stop casting at you. As you can see, we got a guy hidden back there, a Matosta, and there's also the way forward right here, so we could in fact skip this enemy. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and destroy these, leave him chained back there, but also dodge all of these spells. There we go. All destroyed. Let's go ahead and move in. And as you see before you, here is the next mini-boss, Flame Matosta Surras. He's the one that's been casting fireballs all over us. Let's go ahead and we can burn the rest of our mana on him. The main technique to him right here was mostly through fighting through the area. However, now we have to just deal with him. So as you saw there, heard the little shing sound. I'm just low on mana to cast Lesser Fireball. So I could switch to just casting Mystic Bolt for a while, and that's actually what I'm going to do. Mystic Bolt pretty much requires no mana. It does require some, but not a lot. Nothing to really worry about. So let's go ahead, and I think it'll be cool if I just zoom out all the way. And you can see the entire fight. So he doesn't really move from the spot. You kind of keep attacking him, and you just really want to continue to dodge all of his spells. So the main enemy was fighting her way through the area. Now that you're at him, he's a little bit easy to destroy, but not too easy. As you can see, he's got plenty of health, and you need to do plenty of dodging to be able to kill him. I should mention that going right over here, back here, is a big group of enemies, so you definitely don't want to peek around this corner, or you're going to aggro all of them, and then you're going to have to deal with them during this fight. Get restored enough mana, I can start to cast this again. You have to get really close for the fireball spell, so with him, since there's such a small amount of area, you should really just watch out. So while we're kind of waiting around like a little bit, we can kind of start to read his tooltip a little bit. As you can see, he also has a desperation phase, and it'll trigger when he reaches 25% HP, which he's almost at. He's going to attack 50% faster as a result of it. As you can also tell, he has 215 HP, so over twice as much as what the normal disciple has. And he's about to enter his desperation phase now. Kind of saved up a little bit of mana. Let's go ahead and keep casting on him. Just kind of burn through the rest of my mana on him. This is the kind of the phase where it gets hectic, and if you're not moving in a pattern, you will most likely get killed by these fireballs. Alright, one last spell. And there he goes. He is dead. So as you can see, our supply has increased by 10. We get a nice little dialogue about that. We talked about that at the beginning. So with this additional supply, we can see it on up here. Let's go ahead and teleport all the way back home. Let's teleport my units home, because why not? And then coming back over here, we can see we have a new little button to press, spawns a disciple. So now we can summon our second unit. So multi-unit control, fairly similar to single unit control. However, there's a lot of mechanics that you should be aware of. So first things first, if you were to just click anywhere, this would just reselect all of your units automatically for you. In addition, if you go ahead and select a unit and you press Shift, Control, or Alt, each have different mechanisms. However, the primary one, Shift, if I were to press Shift and then 1, I can assign a little group to him, and Shift to a little group to him, and then I'll be able to quickly recall either one of them. And as you can see here, one of the other important factors to it, if I were to click it again, teleport my camera right on top of the unit. Another main mechanic is that a lot of spells will be all cast. Some spells in the future won't be, but for these two initial spells we have, if I were to just go ahead and click anywhere, it will start to have both of them cast. It's also worth mentioning that even if I only had a single unit selected, as you can see before you, I go ahead and try and spellcast, both of them will attempt to cast the spell. This just means that regardless of your unit selection, all of your units will try and cast spells. I'm still kind of battling with this decision, but I really do like it, as it makes it so that you can really just focus on moving your single units or moving your group of units. So you need to move a unit over here, you need to move a unit over here. You kind of play around with that while still being able to attack a specific target. So it's all on how you use it, but I think this is a vastly greater improvement to a standard control where you're locked to whoever you're selected, because I've had plenty of instances in the classic version of this game where I'd misselect a few units, and then as a result I wouldn't be able to cast certain spells, and it would just kind of mess up my entire flow. So with that being said, we're actually done with the Flame Matosta Surras area, technically the Matosta Lair. We're also done with Mataush the Fire Arc Oil. And as you can see here, we got the way forward over here at Mataush's area, so let's go ahead and teleport our units over here. And just like before, we have some various directions to go in. So if we wanted to make our way forward, we can actually take our way through here, but there's a special utility spell you can get going this way. It'll be of use to us, so let's go ahead and make our way over here. Alright, let's make our way forward with our second unit. So this next area is really just meant to teach you how to control your second unit. As you can see here, we got a bunch of enemies to fight. Let's go ahead and try and kill them off even quicker now with the double fireball spell. As you can see, they just melts them, whereas previously we were getting killed pretty quickly. You also got to be careful right here, because there's some enemies over here as well that are getting aggroed, especially a Matosta. Let's go ahead and cast some spells. See if that'll kill him. Oh, not quite. Almost. So movement is also critical, but now you have a second unit to deal with, so it's going to get a little bit more complicated. However, there is a very important mechanic, which we kind of discussed a little bit earlier, but if I were to grab my unit right here, enemies will attack the closest unit. At least that's the current design I have for it, so I can have this single unit and control them fairly easily while still casting and almost dying. So as you can see here, casting's just the same, and our mechanisms for combat are pretty similar, but you do really need to worry about your single unit. Like in this case, he got attacked, so that was my mistake for not engaging him, but let's go ahead. Hey, let's finish him off with a double fireball. And there he goes. Cool. All dead. And let's just destroy this to give us some more movement. And as a big reward, if I were to go up this area, there's a bunch of enemies, but as you can see here, a bunch of cool nature for me to destroy. So let's go ahead and take it all out with our second unit. They don't seem to be aggroed onto us, so we'll just go ahead and destroy these and take our time. Everything goes down a lot quicker when you technically are dealing double damage just from a single second unit. Oh, looks like he is almost aggroed. That's all that nature killed, and just not even halfway through the demo yet. We're at 105 out of 200 nature. Let's go ahead and fight these enemies. It's just as easy to control the second unit and just kind of move them around like this if you'd like, so it's really up to you, and you kind of learn how to control it the best you can. But those are the two main mechanisms I like, which is either using a single unit to go in or moving them double as if they were a single unit. Let's go ahead and head up here. Let's go ahead and fight off the rest of these enemies. It's a bunch of them, so we have to watch out. I just took a huge hit, so I think it'd be best if I retreated for now. Oh, and I already did. So we lost a unit, but that's all right. We're still in the fight. Let's go ahead and see if I can just take them out as quickly as I can. Oh, killing them all. And let's go ahead and fight this guy. I don't like this massive plant here. Let's go ahead and destroy it. And destroy him. Really help you out. Let's go ahead and take out the rest of these guys, and then I'll go ahead and grab my next unit. It's also fairly easy to dodge. You just have to know when it's coming. And he's dead. And our reward, additional nature, so let's go ahead and take it on out. And using those waypoints from before, we can actually very easily hop back to the home, grab another unit, go all the way back to Mataush's spot, and here we go, Mataush's waypoint, and we're back. Already back into the fight. As you can see, this all of this nature around here just kind of loops around here, and you can kind of come back here if you like and just fight this single unit. So you really do have to watch your movement when it comes to using double units at the same time when you're in an enclosed space like this, but in this case it was just a single enemy, and it went over pretty well. And here comes another one. Somehow hit him, and he's dead. Let's continue to make our way forward. Lots of foliage in our way, so this is where the rotate camera key really comes into play, and also zooming in and out. So you kind of got to make a mental note of where these units are, because you're not going to be able to see them behind all this shrubbery, all the trees and stuff. So I kind of like the mechanics like this. It's a little bit hidden, and so it's kind of, I feel like to some players it'll get a little bit annoying, but I want the ambush mechanic to be a staple part of the game as well, so this shall stay. Making our way through here and just kind of keeping an eye out for enemies. Let's go ahead and move out. Actually cast a spell from here. Let's see if they run into it. I think they will. If not, the Matosta will probably stay in it. Oh, he dodged that at the last second. That's so funny. And he got a hit off on us as well. So this is a pretty cheeky lesser recoil here, but he'll be dead soon. There we go. Making our way forward. So this area that we're entering into is the Twin Matosta Lair. That's the next mini-boss that we'll be fighting. So let's go ahead and continue to make our way. Very narrow corridors with a lot of ambushing going on. So it's a very dangerous area, but nonetheless, I think it's a fairly fun little area. So this game does feature a ton of enemies to engage with. That's the main mechanic to the game, so I might as well put in as much fighting as I can. Let's go up here, attack them. Might be able to actually destroy that nature and the Matosta at the same time. Oh! I shouldn't have done that. Oh well. I should be able to take him out. So all these tight corners with 2 units, you really gotta be on your mind about microing both of them, so be careful. Let's go ahead and let's go grab our another unit and come back here. And we're already back as easy as that. Let's go ahead and keep fighting our way forward. And he's dead. Alright, let's go ahead and make our way around the bend. Destroy this. Since movement's so limited here, destroying these little plants around here, very important. And he's gone. Let's go ahead and keep making our way up through here. And watch out! There is a double ambush. Guy back here and a Matosta back there. So let's go ahead and retreat for now. Alright, that's enough retreating. Come back now that they've made their way out of the woodwork. Go ahead and attack. Watch out for our own spell. And then keep casting. And making our way through here. As you can see, a little bit of an advantage. It seems like some of the units will get caught on their allies. So good for us. Bad for the enemies. You can see it's a lot better to control both units at the same time going up and through here, because using a single unit and then trying to cast, they might get stuck on some stuff. He's dead. And now it's time for him. As you might have saw a second ago, he actually clipped out of, or essentially got deactivated. If you leave units in the fog for too long, they will get deactivated. This is a bit of a performance feature, but it also lets you be able to run away from them. Otherwise, they'd most likely chase endlessly. Alright, let's continue to make our way through here. Lots of little plants, let's destroy them. Cool. Let's keep moving up here, and comes another ambush. This time with a bunch of Matostas. Let's retreat a little bit. Start to move our way back up here and cast and run around. One down. A few more to go, but they're all grouped up. Let's go ahead and cast some fireballs on them. Kind of like run in, run out. Oh, he's out of mana. That's alright. Probably should have been casting Mystic Bolt instead. Oh. And once more. And he's dead. Alright, that's the 3 Matostas. Let's keep going. As you can see, we got a little enemy right up there. A couple of them. They haven't noticed us yet, though. So you might have been wondering, what are these little orange things going around here? Those are pages, so that's from the classic version as well. You collect these in this version through killing bosses and mini-bosses. As you can see, we have 2. We've killed 2 mini-bosses, and as a result have 2 pages. In the original version of the game, you would get them through killing regular enemies, but in this time I made them a little bit more rare. And so now you get them through fighting mini-bosses. You can see I should have been dodging a bit more there. That's alright. Nope, I might be dead here. Nope, I'm not. Well, at least the unit that died was not the one with all the mana on them. And they were so close together, but that's alright. I'm gonna just kill them off as quickly as possible. And take out this guy. One thing of note, when you do take damage from the Matosta, they do regain mana, so that's important to know, because if you're expecting them to still be low on mana, but they aren't, you probably got hit. Alright, let's go ahead and grab our second unit back. So while making our way back, I thought it would be important to talk about the future of the game. So this is the staple, this is the base demo for the game. Just pretty much exclusively featuring combat. However, going forward, we're going to be featuring more story and more maps, environments, and all that kind of stuff. But for right now, I just wanted to do a taste of the gameplay and then really start to get players' interest in the game and get a lot more feedback about it, because this is essentially a brand new game compared to the classic version. So, hope you guys enjoy it. Let's go ahead and make our way forward. Looks like we're just making our way to the boss right now. And got a few more enemies to kill. Lots of enemies in this area. So, good chance to try out your second unit and start to get used to them. And I'm gonna go fight you. Oh, what do we have back there? Looks like a potential mini-boss. That's actually going to be healing our ally, because we're dealing damage to him. Let's go ahead and kill him off faster then, before the healing magic goes in. It looks like we're also under attack through a similar spell to Surras, but not exactly. Uh-oh. I stopped paying attention there for a second because I was talking. And big mistakes on my part. Let's go ahead and destroy him. I'm going to need to go and grab my second unit back before I fight this enemy, because we got two mini-bosses over here casting spells similar to Surras, so let's run away for the time being, because we really need that second unit. Alright, we're making our way back in here, and let's go ahead and take on the next mini-boss, the twin Matostas, Syrenna and Sylphas. As you can see, they're both fairly interesting little bosses, healing their allies. Let's go ahead and cast away on them. Let's destroy this Matosta so it doesn't bother us. And as you can see, there's a ton of hecticness to this fight. We didn't have to deal with it during the run here. However, now we have to deal with it during the fight itself. So, big arcane motions are really your friend here. You're just kind of making your way around everywhere. But also, keeping in mind the fact that there is a lot of healing going on. So, these both are healing spellcasters as well as damaging ones. So, be careful. Alright, so now that they're dead, we can go ahead and fight the mini-boss. So here's a developer-intended strategy to fight in this mini-boss too, and that is to take out Syrenna. Syrenna has a really strong healing spell. Let's go ahead and keep fighting. So we do have a second unit. They have a second unit as well. So we'll start dealing some damage. Attack Sylphas as well a little bit. Just keep on casting. Really need to remember what steps and what route you took while moving, because that's kind of important, because there's just going to be fireballs raining down from everywhere. You can see Syrenna's almost dead. Actually deal a little bit more damage to Sylphas while these clear out, but we can go ahead and kill Syrenna here in a second. Getting caught on stuff. As you see, we waited around too long, so Syrenna got healed a little bit, but not to worry. Still fairly low on health. Let's go ahead and keep attacking Sylphas. Watching out for these fireballs. I almost took so much damage I would have died, but let's go ahead and kill off Syrenna. Alright, she's dead. Now we just have to deal with Sylphas. So he has a healing spell as well, but it's not as strong. He can heal himself with it, but again, we should be able to out-damage him fairly easily. Let's make some large arcane motions around here to kind of dodge all of his spells coming down on us, but he's taking quite a bit of damage pretty quickly, so should be able to kill him actually. There we go. Alright, that's the twin flame Matosta, Syrenna, and Sylphas defeated. And we also got a cool new spell, which we can actually use right now. This is the Lesser Healing spell. Let's go ahead and cast it. As you can see, it's a single cast spell, so not two units will cast at the same time. And it's very fast to cast, but it does consume a lot of mana, so use it sparingly, but use it to essentially save yourself in critical scenarios. And we also got a new waypoint. But looking back here, there's some stuff back here that's kind of catching my eye. Kind of walk back here. Well, it doesn't look like we can make our way back there, but it looks like it's just kind of blocked off with these shrubs. Let's go ahead and destroy them. And, as we can see before us, there is the essence of water, giving us some water when we destroy them. Let's go ahead and take them out. All three of them. And for each one, we get 2 water for it, so that'll be important later when we're trying to summon an apprentice. And there we go. So we got the secret spell, the lesser heal. Let's go ahead and make our way back to Mataush's area. We're actually going to continue on with the normal progress for the game. And as simple as that, we're back. So we're on close to the home stretch for the game. Let's go ahead and make our way forward. And before I do that, I'm actually going to wrap around a little bit. As you can see, it just leads back here. Oh, gotta really watch out. Lots of spells coming across, so let's go ahead and fight these enemies. There's a whole bunch of them. Let's take out all of these shrubberies, because they'll be in our way otherwise. It's like we're damaging an arc coil as well while we do it. So, tons of enemies to fight here. Lots of nice open space, so that'll be good. A little bit easier to kind of engage with other than those close, slightly more claustrophobic areas like the twin Matosta Lair. Let's deal tons of damage with our double fireballs against these enemies. So, having mana as your friend, but also realizing when you're low on mana and you can't cast spells on your second unit, that's also important. He's at 36% HP. Oh, and he dodged too. Wanted to just lead him in there, even though I took a hit. It's better that way. One more hit should do it. And there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and we got some seemingly different paths, but they kind of lead together. And we got an enemy right up here. Let's go ahead and start to fight them. I think it's best if we draw them out. Cast where you think they're going to be and sort of time it, and so when they start to get in their area, you can then hit them. So I'll cast like right here, and I'll wait for the lesser oracle to draw its way over here. But it looks like it's caught on the Matosta, so there goes that plan. But we can run in here and cast fireballs on them. And one more spell. And did. Get a nice shot of these double mystic bolts going off. And destroy. There's some nature over here as well. And up through here, there's some nature. Let's go ahead and take it out. As you can see, right around this little path right here, it's actually the Matosta Lair they were fighting earlier. Okay. Nice big open area. Let's go ahead and press onward. And as you can see here, a whole group of enemies. This is our next mini-boss in the game. This is the Squadron of Barein. As you can see here, so many enemies for us to fight. How are we going to actually possibly deal with all of them? First things first, get lucky and make sure that you don't get hit by everything. But second things second, understanding of the game is your friend. And what I was talking about earlier about friendly fire is also a pretty big mechanic for this boss. As you can see, I've cast a total of 2 spells across my 2 units. I think I just got healed. And most of them are already dead. What's going on here is that there's actually a friendly fire mechanic on this mini-boss here. Since there's 3 of them, I figured that would be a little bit unfair if you didn't have a advantage in your direction. So, as you can see here, we've got a whole bunch of little mechanisms to kind of look at and see that, oh hey, they're actually dealing damage to each other. I just got one of my units killed. However, still not out of the fight because I technically have 3 units fighting for me as well. I'm extremely low on health. In fact, I probably should have been paying more attention so that I would have healed. As you can see, he's casting so much spells too. But one of the mechanisms about the lesser heal is it's so quick to cast, you can kind of almost aim, spot, and then stand in it and heal yourself. So you got to kind of time it, but once you get the timing down right, he's dead. That just leaves us with a couple more to fight. So that was Varus that just died. We also have Kylen and Ilstosta. Ilstosta is the Surras style Matosta casting in the background. As you can see, Ilstosta is a bit of a... he's the only one with brains. He knows how to kind of stay out of the fight. But Kylen and Varus, especially Varus just kind of leaps right into the fight. So some mechanics to be aware of. So what we can do here is... Ilstosta actually suffers from the same mechanism that killed those Matostas over and over again, in which case he can damage himself with his own spell. None of the other ones can, to an extent, but Ilstosta can. However, he also has a mechanic where as soon as his spellcast is up is when he's going to pick his target for location versus when he initially cast it. So you need to be on him for pretty much the entirety of his spellcast. Otherwise, you're just going to miss. So let's go ahead and do a bit more healing. As you can see, I'm fighting through these enemies with not much problem. Since we did just get that lesser healing spell, it's actually worth mentioning that if we were to... I'm going to run away for a little bit so I can kind of hold on this. As you can see here, he has negative 50% Mystic Resistance. This is Kylen. And 50% Fire Resistance. Looking at Ilstosta. Move over here. A minus 25% Mystic and 75% Fire Resistance. So if I were to cast Fire spells on him, it wouldn't do much. We're getting pretty much 75% of our spell absorbed compared to the Mystic one, which we're having 25% bonus damage on Ilstosta, and then it was about 50% bonus damage on Kylen, and then Varus, similar story. He has a bonus damage. So in this particular case, viewing the enemy's resistances even while in combat, fairly important, because otherwise, if we were trying to still cast our Lesser Fireball spell, we'd have pretty much no mana for healing, but we'd be dealing not much damage at all, so it's almost like we didn't really even need that spell. At least as far as this boss is concerned, but for all other areas, the Lesser Fireball was a pretty good utility to us, so that's what these spells are. They're utilities, so use them accordingly. Let's go ahead and take out Kylen. It's close to death. Just fighting him with a single unit goes a little bit slower, but that's alright. I don't mind continuing the fight until I'm actually fully dead. So if I lose a unit, that's my fault, and I'll just have to continue the fight anyway and see if I win or not. In this case, I'm doing pretty good. So Ilstosta is at 31% HP. So let's go ahead and get right up on him. And then as soon as he casts, you can see that little black dot. And there he goes. Takes some damage as a result. So let's kind of do the exact same thing. Wait for him to fully cast, then run away. And he's just going to damage himself. So we can use this to our advantage. Let him kill himself. So use the game mechanics to your advantage. If not, you will likely get killed because this is a pretty huge group of enemies. And there we go. We've slain the Squadron of Barein, and our supply has increased by 10 again. So we have officially unlocked our third unit. So what do you say we head on back to the home? Let's go grab our third unit. So let's go ahead and come over here and click. And click. And now we have all three. Let's go ahead and teleport to the Squadron of Barein waypoint. That's the mini-boss we just fought. And here they all are. So now we have 3 total disciples. We've essentially tripled our damage from the beginning of the game. And as you see before you, got a nice little pathway to go. So let's go ahead and... I'm going to move for going up this path. Let's go ahead and take this one instead. And we'll ignore that one for the time being. We're just one-shotting these plants now, which would previously take us 3 hits to defeat. So, big progress. Yeah, let's go ahead and make our way forward and get ambushed by a fire spell and get ambushed by a tornado as well. Looks like we just got caught in the tornado, and we gotta watch out here, or we're gonna get killed. Not quite. So, that is the next main mechanic for this game. We got 2 new enemies to fight. A little fireball that's chasing us around, very peculiar, and a random tornado. We haven't seen these before. So let's go ahead, and for all we can do right now, we can just kind of take him out and move forward. Just be on the lookout. We do have healing spells, so let's go ahead and heal up. There we go. And let's continue our way forward. Oh, another one of these, so let's go ahead and we can actually try and fight him this time. Noticing that he is damaging himself, though, so he does deal self-damage. So you can see we just took a bunch of damage there, too. So, getting him to kill himself fairly easy. So that's probably what we're going to be doing moving forward. And we got a bunch of enemies to fight. We got one of the suicidal fireballs and some tornadoes. So don't want to get caught in those tornadoes or we're going to get thrown up in the air again and not be able to move. But let's see if we can take out this Matosta this time with a triple fireball. Huge damage. Killing him so quickly. For why not? You notice that these tornadoes are in fact dying over time, so we can kind of leave them alone, they'll die. Otherwise, we should probably take them out. Let's go ahead and make our way forward. And a bunch more enemies. Oh, we just took a hit too. Heal up real quick. And run away. Uh-oh. So this is why this healing spell is becoming a huge advantage for us. It is killing a bunch of our mana, but that's alright. We're now taking these things down to half HP in a single volley of fireballs, or mystic bolts. Whereas before we were not. Oh, and he's dead immediately. We can make our way up here. Got a few more enemies to fight. See another fireball running towards us. Heal up a little bit. And you're dead. So as we saw previously, we can kind of ignore this tornado for a second. It looks like this kind of loops around right here, so we can kind of ignore that area. I'll leave that for you to explore. So a little pathway back here. Let's go ahead and make our way back here. Very peculiar. There is seems to be a wall of fire, and try and cast spells through. Let's see what happens. Oh, and they're just gone completely. So, nothing we can do here. Let's kind of move forward. Can't move past it. And continue to make our way through here. Another fireball to watch out for. So it's easy enough for them to kill themselves. However, we could cast spells and time them correctly to take them out, but no need currently. Another one. And you're dead. Look at all this shrubbery and a bunch of fireballs running towards us, so we better watch out. Destroy that. And they are killing themselves, so that's good. Took a bit of damage, but that's alright. Let's make our way back up here, and we got some more enemies to fight. Taking a bunch of damage. Let's retreat a little bit. Heal up. Nice triple heal, and let's kill this guy off. As you can see, even with our triple units, we're only dealing 20% of his health, so they do have a ton of health. They'd be cleaned up a lot. The Matosta would be cleaned up a lot faster if I used the fireball spell, but I'll conserve the mana. Oh, saved ourselves there. Let's do a bit of healing. And make our way back up here, and we got a whole bunch more enemies. And some tornadoes to watch out for. I'm gonna actually expunge a bit more mana here because we need to kill off all these enemies fairly quickly. Another one dead. See if we can just kind of quickly take him out. There goes all of the tornadoes, so we don't have to worry about them anymore. And you're dead as well. Alright, cool. So, made our way up here. It's just a dead end. Heading over here. Some various foliage that would have been blocking our way with those tornadoes, but those have all since died. We can make our way forward. And what do we see before us? See something interesting. That same firewall from before, and then this interesting, almost home looking to an extent. We got some hidden pathways before us though. Let's go look at those first. You can see we got a nature right here. And that's gone. So without further ado, let's go ahead and head into the boss fight. As you can see here, we have the final boss of the demo, Apprentice Dragon Barein, and something a little iconic. We were just getting chased around by these fireballs earlier, and this tornado as well. As you can see here, he's summoning the spells that were previously alluded to us. I thought this would be a good little mechanic for him. So let's go ahead and start attacking him as well. Keep on casting on him. So one thing of note, so you can see here from his tooltip, he is about, if I can show it on the screen for a little bit longer than normal. Let's run around a little bit. As you can see here, he has minus 600% mystic resistance. Very interesting. Very important to make note of this because this will make the Mystic Bolt significantly better to use than the Fireball spell. And this is actually important game design because I want it to be so that you have the ability to heal yourself with the heal spell as you see fit, because this heal spell also takes up quite a lot of mana. So his last spell, his last major spell, is of course his iconic Draconic Fireball from the classic version of the game. Very slow moving, but huge spell. Deal a ton amount of damage to you if you get caught in it. So let's go ahead and keep fighting them. So he's almost at half health, and a new little mechanic is gonna pop up once he gets to half health. So let's go ahead and deal one more volley. There we go. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Wait for him to cast his spell. And here it comes. So this is going to be his next phase, which in this phase he's going to be raining down fireballs from the sky. So as part of this fight, now you have to deal with dodging all of these spells while also dodging everything else. So almost got hit by that tornado there as well. And once he reaches below 25% HP, he's actually going to enter into his desperation phase. Let's go ahead and deal a little bit more damage. And here he is. So now he's going to cast super fast, and that might actually kill. Yeah, there we go. One unit got killed, but that's alright. We can still continue this fight with these other two. So one other mechanism I wanted to mention. I mentioned this in the original upload for this boss, but he doesn't deal any kind of self-damage in any way. I wanted all of the mini-bosses to kind of be the more fun ones. But for these bosses, I felt like it would be cheating the player out of victory if they were to just end up having the dragon kill himself, because that's how it originally was, and it's not as fun. So as you can see here, we got our reward, the Tome of Apprenticeship. However, we need additional water, and I remember that little secret area from before. I'll meet you guys back over there. So here we are back here again, and behind that firewall is a lot of fireflies and plenty of water. So here we go. Here's our reward for remembering that there's a little secret there. Let's go ahead and claim our just reward. And with that, we've actually acquired enough resources to be able to go in, advance our units to apprentices, but first, there's a little bit of extra stuff I'd like to show off. So heading up through here, this is actually the part just after Barein's area. So as you can see, there's plants blocking the way off, another set of plants. But coming up to here is what appears to be a dead end, but actually, this is going to be the way forward in the future of the game. So as I intend to develop it, the next map is going to be linked through a passageway, similar to how it was in the classic version of the game. So as I continue to develop, this will be the way forward and the way out of this. But for right now, just an empty spot for the demo. As you can see here, there's also some additional rewards for some water. And heading back here, there's a little wall of plants, and there's some water back there as well. But let's go ahead and claim our reward, which is the Apprentice. So I'll meet you back at the home base. And here we are. Let's go ahead and hover over it. As you can see here, allows our disciples to advance into apprentices. Let's go ahead and research it. And we now have it unlocked. We can see the spell right here. Let's go ahead and cast it for each of our units. And here we go. This is the final grouping of units. As you can see when we hover over them, the Apprentice, 500 health, 500 mana, plenty of health and mana regen, plenty of utilities to get you through to the forward part of the game. But that's the final reward of the demo, and with that, the demo is now complete. So, with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial video I put out, and I hope that you go ahead and check the game out for yourself, and let me know what you think about it. This has been a very fun passion project for me to develop for, so I hope you guys enjoyed as well, and I hope we can build a very cool and exciting open world RTS style game. So, thank you.